So we've got some QBs that are entering the season, new faces, fresh out of a competition battle. Let's give a little bit of insight as to kind of what they're going through. Trevor, you've been through it. I've been through it. We've always been through, as year in and year out, you get the new faces. So we've got, just let me, quick list here. We've got Texas, who just named Hudson Card. We've got Baylor, who just named Jerry Bohannon. Been there for a little bit. Kansas, I haven't found a clear winner. I could be totally wrong, but we have Miles Kendrick and Jalen Daniels in there, and then Texas Tech, like I just said, with Tyler Show. So, give a little personal insight. What is that like to have a quarterback competition? Did Lincoln Riley come in, or Bob come in and tell you, hey, you're the guy? What was the deal there?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when you look at the landscape of the quarterbacks in the Big 12, I'd say it's a relatively typical year. You've got a couple guys that are coming back with a lot of experience, a couple guys that have played a lot, but they're still kind of battling for that job. And then, like you said, just some new faces. And during my career, I kind of faced every single one of those. There was times where I wasn't looking over my shoulder and I just got to be the guy. And the preparation for that, as you know, you can be confident. You can get, on the same page with your receivers. You can go into the season knowing, hey, it is my job, and we're going to potentially go win a national championship. That's the mindset to it. When you're in that middle range, I think that's the hardest. You're looking over your shoulder and you're saying, okay, I've proven myself a little bit, but obviously I haven't proven myself enough to give this coaching staff enough confidence in me to just name me the guy. Oh, there's, Blake Bell over your shoulder, or Baker, or anybody, right? I mean, there was only a few times in my career where I felt like I was the guy. Other than that, it was always looking over my shoulder, which is tough mentally on a young kid. Some guys can handle it. Some guys can't. I think I did a decent job, maybe not a great job. But then, these new guys coming in, Hudson Card being the one that sticks out to me because he's got to play a really good Louisiana team coming to town really quickly. He's still looking over his shoulder, but I know he's just chomping at the bit to get out there on that field to prove what he's been practicing for, working for, watching film, working out, all these things in the offseason and even into his, last year where he just got a little bit of playing time. He's chomping at the bit to get out there. So it's an exciting feeling, a really exciting feeling. Bryce, tell us the story of, you went through every type of shirt there is, the red shirt, the gray shirt, the blue shirt, whatever the shirts are.
Correct.
When you finally got the word from Art Briles that you were going to be the guy, first of all, tell us that story. Was it, him call you in? Did he text you? What was it? And then what was your kind of immediate feeling going into that first start down there at Baylor?
Yeah, you know what? Super interesting. So I was about 27 at the time. When I found out that I was going to be the guy, and it was great. It was a beautiful thing. Coach Briles had balloons. We had cake. He brought Griff back.
Blow up, bouncy house. And
yeah, Grant Taft was there. Grant Taft was there. It was a big. It was a historical moment. None of that happened. Period. What was expected was, hey, it's yours to lose, so don't F it up. So the idea of kind of the parade was not there. It was, hey, go to work, because we all are. You're being one position out of 11, especially as highly marketed as most of these kids. Texas, that was a big question coming out of spring and into fall. Who's going to be the guy? Same thing at Baylor. Same thing at Tech. Everybody's fighting for a spot. And it's kind of the only position that you really see in terms of who that guy's going to be. Sometimes you'll see it as, who's going to be the number 2 running back, or, who's going to be the starting receiver. But, a lot of times it truly essentially and highly focused on the quarterback position. But, the other 10 guys, man, it's who puts us in the best, possible situation to win. And Briles really approached it that way. I learned a lot. My story is pretty interesting in the sense I think it was like 1,400 days and some odd days, whatever, from my last, start in high school to my first start in college. I made a big deal about it. I learned a lot. My going into my redshirt sophomore year when it wasn't really a quarterback competition between, Nick Florence and I. I thought it was kind of always his to lose as well. and Nick Florence did a lot for us, when Griff went down. But what came about that competition when I did not get the nod was, okay, if I'm not going to be the guy, how can I be the best number 2 guy? What can I learn? I can sit here and sulk all I want. I can get in the transfer portal. I can do all that stuff, which, look, everybody's situation is different. I'm not saying anything about that. But just for me, it was, hey, I'm going to push through this and see what happens. And really coming out of that, man, I had a hunger, and I had kind of a realization that, hey, it was worth the wait. Trevor, you and I both know, being men of faith, like, when you stick something out and you give it to the good Lord above and say, hey, man, this is your deal, I'm just going to run with it. It's an exciting feeling when you do get that first start. So my first start was against Wofford. I couldn't tell you anything about it, man. It was like, I blacked out. I was just having fun. But I tell you what, the first touchdown is just such an overwhelming feeling. It's just, when you're a kid and you're playing hoops by yourself and you're shooting the 3-point, and then you actually get to go do that in a game, that feeling you can't explain. When you're hitting a baseball against a cage, and then you actually hit the game-winning home run or the game-winning hit, double off the wall, you can't explain that feeling. Same thing, man. There was so many times where I was in the indoor, practicing by myself. I actually had my dad come up, which is such a blessing, because I know that a lot of guys don't get that. His support for me in that time was incredible. And so to actually have that first touchdown it was great. But to your question, no, there was no hoopla. Bryce said, hey, look, go do it. You've been here. You know what we're doing. Now go to work and put it out on the field. And so that's all I needed. It was just give me the opportunity. So I'm really excited to see these guys to sum all that up.
Absolutely.
Is there one guy in particular that you're a little bit more excited about than others?
Yeah, I think, and this will lead us into kind of our game of the week. Man, Hudson Card, a guy that, grew up right down the street and went to Lake Travis High School, followed after Charlie Brewer, followed after Baker Mayfield, followed after Garrett Gilbert. I mean, all these guys that came before him kind of paved the path for him to be where he's at. And the Longhorns finally got one from right down the street. They missed out on so many of these guys over the years, and they finally secured one. But I think what Steve Sarkisian did, because I know him and I played for him when I was with the Falcons, I know how he pushes his quarterbacks and he, demands perfection from them. So he took a long time to name a starter here. I think he'll probably give Casey Thompson a few snaps, but it probably a similar situation to what you had in a similar conversation. Hey, it's yours. Until you screw it up type of deal. I think he has all the tools. I had an opportunity to go and throw with him and Garrett Wilson, who's killing it at Ohio State right now, but went to the indoor with them up at Lake Travis and threw around, and kid was just wise beyond his years. So playing at DKR, big-time matchup against the Raging Cajuns. Really excited to see his composure, really excited to see him step out there, get his feet wet, and throw that touchdown for the first time. He might have thrown a touchdown last year. I know he got a little bit of time, but it's a little bit different when you're a starter.
Totally different. I agree. And that's actually my guy as well. I'm really excited to see, what they put, their product on the field.
Thanks for watching the video, guys. If you liked what you saw here, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Maybe leave a comment. Interactions like that really do help grow the channel, and they help more people like you find this content. So if you liked what you saw here today and you want to help me out, that's all you got to do. See you on the next video.